we go outside to explore and wonder these adventurous spirits within ourselves. But as we go on these adventures, it's important to remember that we aren't the last of these adventurous spirits. So, we encourage you to be mindful of your impact as you go on these camps. There are 6 basic ethics of low-impact camping that we'd hope you follow. First, we have to be environmentally friendly mountaineers. Be sure to bring home all your garbage, including those refused from cooking. Even this banana peel, even when we think this is biodegradable. The second thing we have to remember is to leave the campground the way we found it. So, if we found it like this, we must leave it like this. When the need for fire arises, whether for warmth or for cooking, we must avoid cutting down trees. Instead, it is more advisable to pick up fallen twigs or branches, like this, to start the fire. The fourth low-impact thing we could do is to wash dishes by cleaning the leftovers with water, and then drying it off with a tissue or a cloth or sand if available. Another thing we can do is use a strainer as we wash the dishes to make sure that no waste infiltrates the land. Now, when we pack for long trips that may require us to take a bath, it is important to bring eco-friendly shampoos and soaps, like this organic 2-in-1 shampoo and soap bar. It is also good for saving space. And lastly, we must be silent as much as possible. We need to keep our voice tone and volume at a minimum because these creatures need the rest too.
Venturing outdoors is an essential part of the human experience. We want to keep our wild places as sanctuaries for the human spirit, so that the next generations experience the sensation of discovering untouched places.
So, do your part in protecting these outdoor places using these low-impact camping skills that you just learned.
Hey there campers! Do you want to learn how to find a place to set up your campsite? If the answer is yes, you've come to the right place. I will be teaching you what to look for when you're trying to find the perfect place to set up your campsite. But we're not doing it here, and I'm not outside. I'm in a concrete jungle, so to speak. So I'll see you inside. So now we're inside. Here are what to consider when you are thinking of a good place to set up your campsite. First, it must be at least 200 feet away from water. You need to take a bath and you need to have a drink, right? If you don't have water. And yes, it must be 200 meters away from water and from a trail, so you won't get lost during your camping trip. Now, you should consider that it should be staying away from other hikers or other campers that you are not affiliated with. So that's one thing to consider as well. And the downside of, well, camping near rivers and streams is that you're gonna have a hard time with the bugs. Preferably, most likely mosquitoes, something like that. So make sure to bring insect repellent if you camp too near to a lake. Now let's move on to 5 things to keep in mind when looking for a great campsite. First is preferably a flat piece of land where your tent won't have any bumps. So when you lie down, it's gonna give that comfort. The sleeping bag, so nice. And keep your trash at a distance. Now we're camping doesn't mean that we can litter everywhere or throw our trash anywhere where we want. Mother Nature is still needed to be taken care of. So while you enjoy the beauty of Mother Nature, try to maintain the beauty of Mother Nature. Keep your trash segregated and at a distance from your campsite. And I said a while ago, keep close to a water source, preferably a river or a lake or a waterfall, even if you get lucky. Waterfalls are nice. Next, you need to maximize the usefulness of your tents, right? Some people will leave a lot of spaces in their tents, which is such a waste. You can use a tent for only bags, if you're that rich, or if you have an extra tent lying around, store your food, your bags, and every equipment you need. And while once will be for your sleeping quarters, or if it's possible, you can mix both, a sleeping quarter and a food storage, or sleeping quarter and equipment, or just a one and all tent. It doesn't matter how many tents you have, as long as you make full use of the tent. Okay? So next, the fourth tip is to keep organized, and your cooking area should be clean at all times. Yes. Why is that? You don't want to attract any animals. You don't want bears or who knows what will come out of the forest, right? You need to keep it clean. You need to remove all stenches of foods if possible. Especially put out your fires after you're cooking. And always keep in mind that when you segregate your trash that has food waste, make sure just to put freshener on it. Just remove the smell as much as possible. Don't want to be attracting animals, and if animals do get attracted, just don't mess with them. If they don't mess with you, then don't mess with them at all. Just let them be until they go away, because animals are still an integral part of the ecosystem and are part of the beauty in camping. When you're camping, you want to see animals in their natural habitat, so just don't mess with them. And last, build a campfire like a pro. Yes, some are very ill-experienced in making campfires, but try to learn before you go camping, because a good campfire can make all the difference. Let's say your campsite wasn't that best, then a good fire will make up for it. Storage by a campfire, very good. So that's the 5 things you should keep in mind when selecting it. First is need the perfect flat land. Next, keep your trash at a distance. So look for a place where there's trash segregation in it. Like your flat land, you have an area that you can say that I can dig my trash here and then pick it up and throw it up when I leave my campsite. Next, you need to maximize the usefulness of the space, your tent, everything in the area. Maximize it. And fourth is to keep organized. As always, you don't want a dirty campsite, so that's why it's preferable to have a flat site. And next, build a campfire like a pro. So you want to set up near areas that are having sticks nearby, so that you can make a good campfire. So that is all. Goodbye.
Hi guys, so for today's video we're gonna be talking about parts of the tent. First, we have here the body of the tent. And next, we have the tent poles, which is on this side and also on this side. Next, we have here the zipper in which you could go in and out of your tent. Next, we also have this tent bug. And we also have the stake in which you could also put it here and also on this side, so that your tent will stay still even if it's windy.
Oh, hello hiker. What brings you here? Sure, I'd be glad to tell you. So, there are 4 types of tents, and I will be showing you 2 of these. Let's go.
The first type of tent is called the dome tent. Dome tents are generally the biggest and are usually reserved for larger groups in camping. This type of tent design is usually common in what you will often see these days. This tent is also very easy to pitch and dismantle. The basic shape bends a flexible pole into a half circle in which both ends are fixed on a webbing strap running across the tent.
Now that we know what is a dome tent, let us proceed with some of the pros and cons of this tent. Pros: they can easily be set up by one person. It is also compact when collapsed for easy setup, storage, and transport. They are also easy to put up and take down. They are also very lightweight, which is why this is one of the most common design for big groups.
Cons: they are very unstable in strong winds and bad weather.
They are also unstable in larger sizes.
The second type of tent is a tadpole tent. So what is a tadpole tent? These tents are very durable and can withstand bad weather. They are mostly designed for backpackers and hikers, so they are more compact and lighter than standard tents. It is also aerodynamic, in which it can deflect wind and is very durable. Now that we know what is a tadpole tent, let's proceed to some of the pros and cons of this tent.
Pros: it has better strength and structural ability.
It can also withstand heavy rainfall and snowfall. And lastly, they are very easy to assemble. Cons:
they are expensive than any other type of non-technical tents.
now that we know what is a dome tent and a tadpole tent, let us proceed to the third tent.
Now, the third type of tent is called the A-frame tent. Unfortunately, I don't have a tent right here, but I'm still going to explain to you what kind of tent this is. The A-frame tent is the most typical and most common for personal use. As what you can see here, it has a classic triangular design, and the body of the tent is stretched and skated to the ground, tautly with guy lines, and is supported by vertical poles at each end. Now, the last type of tent is called the tunnel tent. It is different compared to the A-frame tent because they are structured with poles that both run the width of the tent. It can also be used on grass or on rocky terrains. And this is an edge since it is aerodynamic, but if it is compared to other tents, it is more cramped. And lastly, since it's a tent and aerodynamic, but when it comes to wind, it is not as nearly as steady. That's all.